So, I'm back in another city, and I've got a problem. I've got too many people wanting to move in.
So, why don't I just build more houses?
Well, yeah, actually. We've got space. But first, let me give some context. So, we've got a pretty big city over there. It grew so big that it actually spilled out of the valley, and that's how we've ended up with a satellite city. Now there's a lot of demand in this city, as you can see. That's a lot of demand for me in my cities, by the way. But we had so much demand that the government had to build social housing. I've tried to base this off of Madrid. I don't know, you can be the judge of that. If you look at outskirts of Madrid, it's brick buildings, apartments. It's not city blocks so often, and they're not afraid to build quite big, quite far out, and literally at the edge of the city. But farmers around the city saw this opportunity and decided to capitalize. And this is what I want to try out today. I've already set out some space for it anyways. But what I wanted to try out for this, I do actually have an inspiration, so I'll put it up on the screen right now. So in this instance, as I described, it will be these farmers selling off land. However, this neighborhood that I'm starting off with, this could have been like government land or something, sold it to... It's usually land mafias. So they'd sell it to basically this group, and then this group would subdivide it, which would technically be illegal, which makes this technically informal settlement, even though there's roads, there's electricity and water. And that would end up with basically the city like continuing out. This is the first time I've used those fences because net lanes in this game, I don't know how to get the colors right. Yeah, so then I moved on to... No, I didn't. I stayed with the subdivision. It would be interesting. It was really tedious, to be honest, but it would be interesting to see how like a huge expanse of kind of that development would look like Istanbul, for example. I'll put it up on the screen as well. So I continue with that. I want it to look like a mess, but I don't think... It obviously has to look good as well. This development I love, but I quickly left it for some reason. Yeah, I'm back. So this development I love. I just love kind of... It makes sense that they'd be Mediterranean because they're like really bright colors, balconies and everything. But then this development next to it, it's modern as well, but I just don't like it so much. It's the Eastern European roofs. They're really finicky to like get the right color, but to be honest, I don't know what the right color for them would be. Then I went into this plot, which is like supposed to emphasize how thin a single land parcel could possibly be. I don't really like the high density though. That was the first time I used the area bucket. I realized that I had this mod installed for like so long. Turns out it's like really useful or something. This development, it's literally like a bunch of small developments. So this one is on a pretty awkward plot, and I made those three apartments even more awkward, just to emphasize how, like, over the time, how quick everything just gets developed up. There's no thought between, like, across developments. And then this one was the last one I did. I didn't want this city to go all the way up to the mountains, so I just kept it kind of on this side of the motorway, and we've got a cool effect, but it's so jarring for me to see, because usually I try and do suburbs or something, or at least like a natural reason why the city would end. I'm actually not good at making cities end. So I've stopped here. I don't really want this area, I don't really want this satellite city to go all the way up to the mountain. It gets quite steep, so I don't think it'll be really realistic. And to be honest, we are far away from what's supposed to be the actual like pull factor. So I think distance decay should kind of start to kick in here. So I'm gonna leave it like this. I like the farms, and to be honest, I kind of like this tree. It's interesting. I like to look at it. I've got the different styles here, different kind of stories in each one. I don't know what to do in this corner. I you probably saw, I kind of ended this block, even though it probably should have been kind of continuation of these, but I just wanted to end it like this because I don't know what it's kind of supposed to be next to. So if you've got a suggestion for what this area is, what it like even could be, yeah, please write it. On this side of the city, however, we've got a completely different story. What I want to try and show is how having this old train line here, it is alright, but it's an old train line, let's just imagine. What I want to kind of show is that that completely cut off these low density houses from the rest of the city. So there was less demand, so the big developers didn't even bother coming in. We could literally show it on one side of this thing, one side of the old train line as well. What I want to literally, I want it to be like one of those photos contrasting when you see on one side of the train line you've got big towers and it's all luxury and people there living high standard of living, and on the other side, I can't speak, and on the other side, it's a lot more deprived. So I think we could do that quite well over here. I've already tried the style out as well, over here, which I think is a bit more accurate to what the region is supposed to be. But yeah, let's get building. So I've already put the picture up, haven't I? Yeah. So this one, on top of the train line, apartments. I don't. It's like surprisingly hilly, this satellite city, but then at the bottom it isn't. So I'm like, it's a paradox, like how much I should flatten the land. Right. So as for these buildings, I've looked on Google Maps since, and they are really literally only a Brazilian thing, and even then, you won't find them all over Brazil. And this city is supposed to be like in Mexico or Colombia or something, so not very accurate. But I guess we can just make a backstory for what the circumstances are. I'm kind of worried that they look too repetitive, but when like the full thing gets built, you'll see. It works. It makes it look more cohesive instead of repetitive. So I think I can live with that. I really like how it's like the uneven triangle, almost the curvy triangle there. I put the car park down because I just didn't want to fill up an entire block with just these. Oh well, I guess I didn't anyways. But I don't know how realistic that is anyways, because it would be very sought after land if so many kind of those little shacks have been built. The shops. Straight after these shops happened, I looked around my city and it turns out in the entire map I've got like no customers, so I should probably lay off the shops. The economy in all of my like infinite money, infinite achievements, I've always got like completely messed up economies. So I finished kind of that area. I wanted to go up all the way to this point. I'm guessing this sort of area would probably predate the highway, but actually maybe it wouldn't. Yeah, let's say that it was built after the highway and that's why it only goes up to the highway. I think that would give it a more understandable backstory, and I think that makes sense as well. I'm really proud of how I did these lines. It's like ironically quite satisfying. You don't see a good glimpse, but I think it does show up in the cinematics. So wait for then. Here's a block of concrete and some props and trees. And here's another block of concrete with some props and trees. I'm really creative. These were literally just corners. Honestly, I'm quite happy with how this has turned out. I don't think we've got the contrast so good. And to be honest, I think it's a bit kind of goofy having the nice development up at the top, on top of a hill. But I guess you could argue that it's like these low density ones are on like the floodplain or something. Yeah, you can probably tell my my secret trick to make things look passable is just lots of trees. except for when there's absolutely no trees. But I think that's part of the point. Honestly, I think I could literally just finish this town now, except for this triangle. I'm kind of, because imagine this shot, but if it was actually filled in, I think that would be like really awesome. So I want to try and do that. Yeah. I won't do a time lapse because it'll just be the same stuff as before. I'll do before. Okay, well, I'm pretty happy with this. Um, we've actually managed to clear the demand, which now I'm a bit scared that it'll never come back. But at least we... Oh, no, there it is. So we've cleared the demand. We've got like a full satellite city. This is kind of awesome. I went for literally like Madrid, satellite town down here next to the station. I've gone for central land, which is really valuable, but they just haven't used it for anything in the downtown here, and then a bit of a mess up there. But I'm happy with this. I think, well, yeah, let's do some cinematics.